Welcome to Dimensional Shift, where we explore and actively deprogram ourselves, seek the truth of reality through expanding our perceptions, and focus on full remembrance of our true selves. As we begin to connect to our true selves, we will also see the truth of this illusory reality and the way it controls us through our manipulated perceptions. As soon as we fully remember our true selves, we will also see the enemy for what it is and how to rebalance the system by freeing ourselves and assisting others to do the same, creating a domino effect into the evolution of human consciousness. Welcome back to Dimensional Shift. Today we're talking about conscious reality creation, and I'm purposely using this term instead of manifestation for a couple of different reasons. The first idea is that if you're not consciously creating your reality, then you're allowing it to be unconsciously created. And that's something we'll get into in just a minute. The other idea is that I really feel like the term manifestation has been diluted to focus primarily on matrix-based goals and ideals. And what I mean by this is people think only of manifesting money, they think of manifesting jobs, they think of manifesting goals that are very much entrenched in the illusion. And while this isn't necessarily a bad thing, unless that's the only thing you're trying to manifest, I think it's important to understand that we can manifest a lot more when we start thinking about these things more abstractly. And so, for example, instead of trying to manifest money, think about what you're actually trying to manifest with the money. Is it security? Is it stability? Is it the freedom to go where you want? Those kinds of things. It's important that we look past the gateways that have been set up for us. And the gateways, I think I've talked about these in a previous episode, but they're time, money or resources, attention, and vitality or energy. Those are the things that have been set up to prevent us from looking past what we actually want and what we can actually manifest. Those are the blockages between us and what we want. So if you look past those gateways, what do you really want? What is beyond that you're hoping to gain by getting through those blockages? And so the next idea then is, do you know what you want? If you're stuck trying to think of manifesting money, do you really know what you want? Do you know what you're trying to get at? What is your actual goal? And sometimes this takes us tapping into our higher self or source or whatever you might want to call it to understand what we're truly hoping to gain. And this goes back into the idea of doing it consciously. Most people manifest things unconsciously. Most of the time, it's not the things that they actually want. The powers that be have designed our minds and our bodies so that our creative potential can be used against us. They have prevented us throughout the ages from connecting to our true self, connecting to source, to know what we truly want, to know what we want to create. They have kept our minds and perceptions limited so that they can use our creative potential to create the reality that they want. They actually cannot directly influence reality here. So short of tearing down the walls of reality, tearing down the walls of illusion and stepping through into the physical reality as an astral being, which is very unlikely and likely very difficult, if not impossible, they cannot create reality here. They have to use us to do it. And they do this through the frequencies they use, such as fear and the distortion tones and all of that I've talked about on previous episodes. And they also do it through the programming, and they do it through the media and other people, all of those kinds of things that we've talked about before. I know that can sound very disempowering to a lot of people. If you feel disempowered by that, I encourage you to listen to the last episode on victim mentality. The takeaway from that episode would be that you can't fix a problem if you're not willing to look at it. So looking at manifestation itself, the biggest downfall I've seen people have with manifesting or conscious reality creation is the idea of instant gratification. First, they may try to change something that's already happening. It's already in motion. And so the idea that it's already in motion makes it more difficult to change. It's easier to affect future energies and create a new path for that energy instead of trying to change what's already in motion. And the instant gratification will get you every time. Some things can be manifested fairly quickly, but sometimes it won't, depending on how aligned it is with what your true self or higher self or source actually wants and needs for you. Sometimes we get impatient and we give up before it's even had a chance to get put out into the world. And then it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy of, I didn't manifest it, so I must not be worthy, or I must not be good at this, or I must not be able to do this. And then the doubt comes, and then you're not able to manifest further. So manifestation works through you, not to you. So there is an aspect of you have to do the work. If you expect to set an intention and then ignore all the actions that your intuition's telling you to do, it's probably not going to manifest. And I'll give you an example of when this podcast episode first started downloading. It's been like a month or 6 weeks now. I've been ignoring it for several weeks, but I was at my desk at work and I was thinking about manifestation, and I took it was a Sharpie pen, and I set it up on end, and I thought, okay, I'm going to manifest this pen falling over. And it was just sitting there next to my keyboard. I went back to work and I kept thinking, okay, the pen's going to fall over. It's going to manifest. And it was interesting because as I worked, unconsciously, subconsciously, however you want to think about it, I was bumping my desk. I was typing on my keyboard. Things were happening that were causing the pen to wobble a little bit, but it wasn't falling over. And maybe if I had given it more time, it would have. But then I had the thought, if I just knock the pen over, it will be manifested. So what am I waiting for? So there's very much an aspect of taking charge of your destiny, taking charge of the manifestation, putting in the work, following your intuition, doing those steps to manifest the thing instead of just waiting idly by for it to happen to you, because that's not how it will work. There is also the idea of you're surrendering the actual desire. So this is something a lot of people get stuck on too. There's the idea in manifestation that you put the intention out there and then you forget about it. You have to actually set the intention, and then you have to surrender, number one, what it may look like when it comes to you. Because trying to pin it down into an exact date, format that it comes in, the way it looks, all of that is actually limiting the possibilities, which makes it less likely you'll get your desired outcome. And that's why it's important to look past the gateways of time, money or resources, attention, and vitality, because that's not actually what you want. You want what's beyond that. And if you're trying to get just the gateways, you're never going to reach what's beyond that because the possibilities are going to be limited too much. You're also going to have to let go of your pride and your ego and your programming, because all of that's going to try and prevent you from the surrendering process, because your willpower, your human willpower here, has to align with what the higher consciousness or source wants, because in the end, we're not truly going to manifest anything that's not in our best interest consciously. So you have to surrender to the knowledge and wisdom that is outside of yourself. Know that source, higher consciousness, the universe, however you want to think about it, has your back, and it won't allow you to manifest anything that's going to be truly detrimental. Trying to force something that is out of alignment will result in a failed manifestation. It won't happen, or it will be totally wonky and just be kind of a disaster. We all know when we manifest things that end up being worse, where we think we've manifested the person of our dreams and it ends up being a toxic, abusive relationship. Like these types of things happen all the time. And so it's very important that we surrender the idea that we know best and allow for a higher consciousness to come in and work through us. And you're also going to have to trust your intuition. Sometimes we're not given the whole plan. We're not given the final destination. We're not given anything but the next step, because if we were given too many steps, if we were given the final destination, that would allow the powers that be to know the plan. And this would allow them to implement machinations to work against us. Similar to the Adjustment Bureau, which I've talked about before, where they try and keep us on plan. And if we see the path too far out, then they can start implementing these designs to work against us, putting in obstacles, creating shortcuts that we think might be better, all of that kind of thing. Your intuition will never lead you astray if you trust it and if you listen to it. And something that I've learned through manifesting and through listening to my intuition is that these resources, these gateways, will always be provided if you trust yourself and if you trust Source and if you listen to your intuition. You will never be without. You will always be provided for if you are truly aligned with those ideals and listening to the messages that you get. If you found this episode helpful or insightful, please share it with a friend and leave a review or comment. Make sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode. I host twice weekly open discussions on the podcast topic on our Discord server. If you'd like to join, head to dimensionalshifter.com/Discord. If you're on Reddit, come join the subreddit r/Dimensional Shifters or send me a DM. My username is Dimensional Shifter. Keep deprogramming, keep connecting, keep listening to your intuition. This is it. This is what we've been searching for our whole lives. Connection to our true selves.